Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Digi After Dark. We've got a quick little dev episode this evening. Let me lower the volume a little bit more. I'm going to try to do a quick take on a piece of Lafayette Regional Airport tonight, and then I think I'm going to hop on to either a flight or we're going to go trucking. I don't know if we're going to truck in Euro truck, if we're going to truck an American truck, or if we're going to do something totally off the wall and play something else. But whatever we do, I hope to enjoy myself this evening for a little while before I go to bed. I'm on Eastern time, so if any of you guys are out there with me, it's about 11:35 p.m. Eastern on Friday, September 27th. To my friends overseas in Tokyo and in Sydney, good Saturday afternoon to you. It's probably, let's see, 1:35 p.m. over there on Saturday. That's my guess. But welcome. We should be underway momentarily. Well, I didn't do 3 consecutive nights of scenery dev, but I have done 3 nights so far this week of flight sim. So I'm happy about that, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, friends, welcome back. We are in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're going to go ahead and hop right back to Kilo Lima Foxtrot Tango, which is Lafayette Regional Paul Forney Field, just outside of New Orleans in Louisiana. We'll do a quick bit of scenery dev tonight, just a little bit of ground coverage before we go and we decide to do something else. So we're loading in now, and dev mode is going to turn into daytime. Hopefully we'll have good weather down there, but honestly, I know they've had a lot of bad weather recently with that hurricane making landfall around Panama City in Florida. So, oh really? Sheesh. Either the weather engine is off. No, it's live weather. That's strange. But then again, we are like, I don't know, 3, 4, 500 miles removed from the hurricane. So I don't know. A little strange, but not out of the ordinary. But again, welcome everybody. I do scenery development for Microsoft. I almost said Microsoft. I do scenery development in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and eventually I'd like to get into or back into scenery development in X-Plane. But tonight we are checking out a little bit of scenery development for Microsoft Flight Simulator before I decide to do something else. So welcome. A quick hello to my friends, to everybody watching. Peer look if you're looking. Thank you for the lurk. Did say there was a possibility that I might not have kicked off before you ended your stream. So hopefully you are resting well. If you are asleep, which I'm assuming you might be, rest well, friend. So where can I set this so it's going to be easier for me to see? Probably here. Oh, that was loud. Sorry, friends. Okay, good enough. Let's go top down and let's take a look at what we've done so far. So, last time that I was here, we were adding a base layer to the tarmac for the terminal area at Lafayette Regional. In previous streams, we've also created the main and secondary runways, including this runway that I'm not particularly certain about for I think the dirt layer. So I might start by touching that up a little bit. Runway dirt seems a little too prominent. But it also kind of has to be as well. So let me see. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it does not need to be a clean runway. I don't know. I kind of like that, but at the same time, I kind of don't. .42. If I did something around the 78 to 80s, I would have something that looks more like this from afar. And let me see what that looks like when I look at developer camera mode. This is the closest approximation to what you would see when you are loaded in the sim. So let's take a look at the runway. And assuming you're approaching it from, say, I don't know, this angle, then you're going to have like this approach. This is a slow camera, so it's not going to move as fast as, say, even a GA plane. Unless you're hovering over the runway. These marks seem a bit excessive. Also large, but I might play with them as well, because the tire marks look a little too repeaty. But with the dirt layer being what it is right now, then when you step out, it starts to tile. So let's go back to dirt and see if we can dress this up. No, not that. Give me the runway dirt, that's right. So something akin to maybe even 90 for texture tiling. Something like this feels a little bit better. Maybe the base layer for the runway could probably be a little bit darker. Just a teensy bit. That might not be that bad, actually. And what I could probably do here is make a similar effect. Take this layer of tire marks and then duplicate it and stretch it down the runway because I kind of want to create this illusion of planes making long landings. And to do that, we need those tire marks to be there. But it's going to take a little bit of effort. And by effort, I mean putting the textures elsewhere. So what I'm probably going to do is make this less obvious. There's 30-meter fall off, and we're going to make this a little bit brighter. Oh, you know what? Not coloration. Opacity. Opacity. So we're going to play with this a bit. And we're going to, you know what I could do? I could probably make a few different layers. How about them apples? So we're going to duplicate this, and then we're going to move this down some more. And that's going to give me a good idea of where these layers should go and what they should look like. Let's change the texture offset, get these more towards the middle of the runway, and slide this over slightly, just ever so slightly. Okay, so what could we do? We could probably create one more segment between them if we separated them by almost an equal distance. So here's my question. Can I select both of those dots at once? I want to say I can. Yes, I can. And I'm not adding something new. I should be able to slide them both at the same time now. And yes, I am doing it. And now, what I can probably do is put that there. Grab these two dots. And then slide them up. The key is to create this kind of like transition to a less landed, less traveled sector. So let's try it this way. And now we have this area between them. Okay. Fortunately, because we have that 30-meter fall off, the inconsistencies here aren't as bad. I gotta go down a bit more. Okay, there we go. Now I've got both of them selected. So they don't necessarily have to touch. They just have to be close enough so that the fall off catches up with itself. See? So now I can offset that texture just slightly. And there we go. Okay, so now we've got these three segments, and now we're going to start playing around with the opacity. So, what's the opacity reading here? It's 198. This is 150. We're going to make this 150 as well, which it already is. And then we're going to make this one like significantly lower. So if I go, what did I make that third one? It was 116. So if I go down to like 130 something, then the effect should be that I see a less pronounced smear to the point where like it's barely there. And then if I wanted to, I could probably compound another layer with just some like stray touchdown marks. And if I look at this from the developer camera perspective, the effect we get should be of a less pronounced touchdown area. So now you have this just big on stripe here, and then you have a less pronounced stripe here, and then you have an even less pronounced stripe here. And then as you start getting back to the other touchdown zone, it gets darker and darker and darker. Because most aircraft are going to be touching down in two specific spots. Thank you, friend. Welcome aboard, Eric Flight. Good to see you. So, I'm going to have to apply these lessons to Plymouth. This is a great kind of like, what do I want to call it? This is a great, you could almost call it a petri dish, if you will. But this is a great test bed for ideas that I want to take back to Plymouth and use to enhance the overall experience. Now, I don't know. I'm kind of two minds on the runway dirt, but I think what I can also do is make the runway dirt a little bit more transparent so that it's there, but it's not like, incredibly in your face. I want to create inconsistency, and I want to create something which is kind of both simultaneously used and not used. This I feel is too much. That's just nothing. So somewhere between there should be fine. And honestly, this kind of represents a recently paved runway, which also has some wear and tear on it. So if I take this center stripe here and then I offset it some more, then let's see, what does 141 look like? 141 actually looks pretty good. Okay, let's make this a little bit more opaque. I think I'm going to have to make this the bottom, the very bottom. Also, I think my CloudBot probably thinks I'm not streaming with audio tonight because I didn't set my settings up. So, hang on, I'll just shut off some timers. Oh no, I didn't turn those other ones on. Good. That works. Alright, now, if I want to make the same kind of impact that I did on the other runway, I need to kind of consolidate this to the middle. And I'm going to have to kind of sort of do exactly what I did before. Grab these 2 points and move them on down. And then should be able to combine them. And something akin to this is what the final result's going to look like. And then we're going to duplicate this same blob twice, and we're going to put one blob over here and put the other blob over here. And again, the point is going to kind of be the same as it was before, which is make them show up, but make them show up a certain way. And if I zoom in, there we go. We can pick that and we can stretch it out a little bit more. And gotta do the same thing here. And take this end and then essentially that should bridge the gap here. Okay, good enough. So I need to find out what my marking opacities are. This is 169, and this one could probably be way lighter. Right, because again, the whole point of this is to basically demonstrate where general aviation aircraft are supposed to land and how they kind of land all over the place anyway. So if I do 120 here, or like 130 something, then I could probably do like 100 something here, maybe even a little bit lighter. And then back up to 120. And that should just about do it. It's my first experiment with multiple layers for, runway dirt and textures. So obviously some things are going to work and some things aren't. But at the same time, is what it is. And it's okay. Now what I could probably do is extend the fall off from these aprons to twice as much, maybe even almost 2.5 times as much. And then you're gonna have more fallout than you bargained for, but at the same time, it's gonna look maybe just a touch more realistic. And that's gonna add an extra layer of I don't know what you want to call it, believability, depth. And then that should do it. This one I'm not so sure about, but that's fine. Now it's looking a little bit more believable that it's being used without being like, like ridiculously blatantly obvious. Textures. Textures. There you go. Okay, so dress that up. And you want to know what? I should probably apply a similar layer of dirt to this runway. We kind of applied some like road snow brine treatment to this runway, but I want it to be obvious or more apparent where aircraft are landing. And because we're using GA aircraft, actually, you want to know what? I wonder. No, I'm pretty sure no airliners are going to land on that runway. There's no markings. But I want to be consistent. So let's add some more markings to this runway. And we're going to start with this piece. And we are going to duplicate it, put it in the where was it? Let's try to duplicate this. Where is it? There we go, right there. So, okay, it's a decal, so it should go there. And what is this called? Just call the copy. So we're going to rename it. And landing tire marks, that's what we're going to use. And okay, and we're going to move this to the appropriate folder, which is, well, first off, aprons, and then we're going to stick it in 1129 runway decals. And we'll say west of main runway. Any particular reason why I just decided to stick that there? Okay. I may have boggled myself a little bit, but that's okay. See, because we just fixed it. And what did I call this? Let's find it again. There we go. Landing tire marks. And it's 160 degrees for the actual orientation. Let's rotate this. This doesn't matter so much. It's this that matters. So we're going to take it to 160, and then we'll zoom in. We might have to apply a different orientation altogether. It looks like we will. So let's go with 250. That's good. And then what we can do is we can move it into position, preferably down the center line, preferably. And we'll have kind of like a general activity area, more or less. But I'm going to create probably 3 or 4 of these segments because I want to stagger in the landing activity. Now, I don't know how planes land here in real life on this east-west runway, so I'm going to have to take just artistic liberties to indicate that. So We'll put the landing tire marks west of the main runway, and then we'll say landing tire marks 1, and we're going to duplicate this a few times. I would say one's going to be here, roughly. And I think I just figured out my justification here. I need to see where the... Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I need to see where the pappies are so that I can justify kind of like plunking one down right there. What's that? What would you like? Okay, let me see what I can find. All right. Folks, give me a bit. Just need to take care of something for Mrs. Digi. I'll be back in just a few moments. Stay tuned. All right, friends, I'm back. I ran to the fridge, well, walked to the fridge to get some water for my Digi and just to take care of a little bit of cleanup. So I am back. I'm probably going to work on getting the tire marks down for another like maybe 15, 20-ish minutes, and then we'll figure out what the approach is going to be for the rest of the night. Now, I'll make this fully opaque so it's easy for me to see. And let's see, with the same kind of approach we had before, where we had, let's see, like 5 pieces total. It'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 being like the clearest piece in the middle here. I'm probably going to, what am I gonna do? I'm probably going to space them out a bit at first, now that I kind of have an idea of where they're supposed to go. And then we will lay them out better. So, and then the last one. So, if the segment between these two lines is going to be where most of everything is going to be in terms of touchdown marks, then I think I'm going to need to space these out in a more equidistant fashion. And then we're going to need to stretch the ends of those pieces out, kind of like we did on those 2 runways. All right. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, oh, well, Digi, it'd be so much easier if you just took a satellite photo and try to make it like, PBR and then not mess around with adding so many layers and so many effects and stuff like that. It kind of would be, except for, in my opinion, one major problem. If I was considering doing this as a payware at all, it would require me to have some kind of a license for it. So I would need to determine more or less how that's going to work. For one. That's kind of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, because it's just a lot easier for me to play with the materials and the effects that are already present in the sim, because what that does is that gives me the ability to build using the I guess you could call it the existing framework, and then there's not, I don't know, I guess there's not as much complexity involved in making things more realistic, because you kind of already are. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you work with the standard materials that you're given, or when you work with the materials you're given, period, what happens is it's easier to make things happen in the sim, because you're already working with the materials that are present. Now you can sorry, you can bring in your own materials, you can bring in your own textures, things like that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, you can while you can do custom things, certainly make custom buildings and make your scenery that much more meaningful, you might be surprised just how much you can get done with what the sim offers. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's possible, very possible, to create really good effects with what you can get, or what you can scratch out, when you know how to combine it all. And that's kind of a good lead in to some of the thoughts that I've had, especially as we round the corner on the end of September and start going into October, and we start getting closer and closer to the release date for FS 2024, I'm eager to see what the software development kit is going to look like in terms of what it's going to offer scenery developers, what it's going to offer, you know, companies and casual scenery developers, and what options are going to be available. Because I can tell you, as a software developer in real life, there's it's kind of difficult, but not so difficult to state. We write we're supposed to write documentation, or we're supposed to write things that allow people to use the product. And what winds up happening is that you generally have a software product that's written more for the people the people that design this the people that wrote the software are usually the ones that can understand the manuals the best. So it it takes conscious effort. It really does take conscious effort to create anything such that the people that are responsible for what was made are also the people that are responsible for making whatever manual it is that you take, or you're given, or you use, responsible for making it as easy to understand as possible. Okay, so I think with all of these, a 7-meter fall off is probably going to be the best way to go. Let me see if I can actually do all that at once. And while it's nice, okay, good, good. Seems almost a bit much that those tire marks are like ridiculously, you know, wide, but I'm trying to figure out the best way to have dirt and touchdown markings on a mostly unmarked runway, and this seems like it makes the most sense to me. So 60 is probably going to be the tile level for, I think, everything. And then we're going to start by making everything just flat out dark. And then we're going to play around with opacity settings for all but the end pieces. So, okay, that's good. That makes it very easy for me to choose the rest of them. That should make it easy for me to start blending them out. And we're going to go from 255, not to 0, but to something more like 210. Or 212. And then that's probably going to be good for, I think, most of them. And then all the way in the middle is probably going to be this guy. Interesting. That works out pretty neatly. This one should probably have an opacity of about right there. The only problem with the other opacities is that it's hard to distinguish them from the initial touchdown zone. So let's make these a little bit lighter. And then make this even lighter in the middle. But not by much. And now, if we come down to ground level and we take a look at the runway, and we hide the editing marks, you can tell that people have touched down here. Only problem, of course, is that the framework is tiled, and also the fading isn't as significant as I thought it would be. So let's take about 30 or 40 some odd units off of each of these segments, down to 140 something. And then for the end pieces, we're going to make them not as bright. And now you do have touchdown marks that are less obvious as you go in. So you can tell some people have still gone long here, but not by much. So what we need to do now is to take all these pieces and see if we can fix the issues with tiling. We're gonna address them. We're gonna address them one category at a time. So fortunately for me, the duplication actually took a very interesting approach. So we're going to rotate this by 180 degrees, so 130 should be wrong. Okay. So if we're going to rotate it, we're going to rotate it this way. Not 130. '70? Yes, of course. 70 degrees. And then texture offset that back into place. And then in the middle, it'll be back the other way. And now there's a little bit of tiling in the touchdown zone here, but then the textures change slightly. And if we tile the textures in units of 65 and then slide them all in, now there's still tiling, but there's not as much. So that gives me hope. And again, this is kind of a good canvas to base future edits off of, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. And that kind of makes sense on this angle. And then we'll kind of touch up the other runways like we did before. Then again, that's kind of interesting that it would tile weirdly. That's okay. I'm not worried about it here. This one we're going to mess around with. So 1 and 2. What are the... Yeah, they're all... Okay, some of them are 25. Most of them are 25, or half of them are 25, half of them are 20. Let's go ahead and increase the tile ratio to 50, and then move all the textures. And actually, I think I like 50 this way. Oops, looks like I forgot to do something. I forgot to include the other layer. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and choose them all. Did I miss something? Did we get rid of one of the layers? Oh, of course we did. Because we kind of took it over. That's fine. We will duplicate this and slide it down. And then we should be able to work with it more nicely. And now we can take all these one-way dirt marks, not dirt, all these. All right. A general bump up to 50. And with the runway being darker than the east-west runway, we're probably going to be able to get away with changing the way these textures work. So, texture offset like that. And then I think these two... Excuse me, these two. And then the one in the middle. And there we go. Now we've refined the dirt on these runways, and we've made the landing marks a bit better. I can adjust the context by hand though, which is good. And I'm probably going to leave this alone, and probably flip this one 180 degrees. So if I do 320 degrees in here and bring this in, then that's actually not that bad. It's a touch more transparent than I'd like it to be. Oh, wait, this might need to be 321. What is this? That's 142. So, what, 322? We'll try it. Yes, actually. Okay. So, there we are. Now I really like the way this looks. And I'm not sure if I'm going to add some more grime on this end to really make it stand out, but we've really set a kind of standard. This isn't perfect, but mind you, we're working with the tiles they've given us for displaying or mimicking dirt or touchdown patches. And this is a lot better than what we would have had otherwise in an AI generated equivalent. So I think this is not bad. That's pretty good for about, 50 minutes. And we added um let's see, what do we do? We cleaned up the runway dirt on the GA runway without cleaning it up too much. And then we've added and we've refined what realistic touchdown tire marks are going to look like, not on pretty much every single runway. So I didn't get around to doing a lot of work on the main terminal area, but I'm really pleased with what happened. And let me see what it looks like from the other side. I mean, I'm not sure if I want to see skid marks going crazy sideways in the touchdown zone, but at the same time, um, it is what it is. And again, default, so I'm happy. I think this might be the result of some bleed through for the runway. But the surface isn't being drawn. We're using aprons for it, so that's not it. Somebody's got ground merging on in here. There we go. What was that, runway dirt? There we go. No need. Runway's grungy enough. And bam. There we go, folks. Not bad for another roundup. Let me go ahead and save my changes. We will do a quick build, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do the rest of the evening. So, I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. So, let me do this. Like I like to do, if you are unfamiliar with the project that I'm trying to accomplish, I am working on Lafayette Regional, and this is the link to the scenery requests page on flightsim.to. If you are curious and want to follow me, you can go to my profile on flightsim.to, where I post up occasional updates of the scenery project. I think the next time that I work on this airport, I'm probably going to put up some screenshots of the work that I've done, or at least recent screenshots of groundwork. I'm trying to get all the groundwork done before I actually get started on replacing buildings and terminals, and I want to do it such that once everything's in place, things are going to look really, really good. And what's probably going to happen is I might split my time between finishing up the grounds, getting fence work and a bunch of other objects installed, and then I'll add the custom objects. But I'm relatively pleased with how far we've come with regards to dressing up the grounds here and doing a better job of giving the impression of a runway that's been an airport that's been used or lived in. So I am going to keep cracking at this over the next few weeks and hopefully have something out for you guys very soon. In the meantime, let's go ahead and figure out what else we can do today. I might call it a night with MSFS, or I might mess around real quick with the Cox Per Def Team Phenom 100, because I updated it from 1.0 to 1.0.5, I think. And I'm curious to see if there's any changes to performance or how things are going to work out. So we won't be in Lafayette. We're going to go somewhere else, I would say. Let's go. Oh wow, sheesh. That storm system went out really far, really fast. Went in really far, really fast, I should say. That's crazy. So, let's do this. It's been a while since I've tried to do anything involving the Phenom and flying anything remotely regional. So let's see if we can find it. Oh, psh, right in front of me. Duh. So November 820 Alpha Charlie is going to be my call, my registration. And what are the deliveries that they give? That's interesting. Finish. Dark blue and deep red. Interesting. Factory 3 looks interesting. And we will start at Key West in the GA parking section. And we will fast forward to a morning departure. I'm probably going to mess around with this for a few minutes unless I get very comfortable flying it. And then we'll see if we can actually get to Miami. If I get bored, I'll probably bail somewhere, I don't know, halfway up the Keys or something, and then we might figure out we're going to go ahead and hop into maybe, I don't know, Euro Truck Sim and do some trucking. But that'll do. Alright, so it has been a while since I've flown the Phenom 100, but I also have many virtual years of experience flying the Phenom in FSX and P3D. So I feel a little bit comfortable flying it. We'll see how it pans out. Okay, like I said, it's been a while since I've hopped into this thing. Also, don't know why, but my joystick's not responding, so hold on. There we go. That's a lot better. Responsive controls, the registrations logged here. We're not at anything fancy in terms of scenery. Got photogrammetry all around me, and we're gonna fly, I'm gonna say, east out of here. Unless, of course, there's a reason I should be flying west. Don't know what the winds are. We can check. Does it show me what the winds are if I check real fast? I don't know. Let's get some services going here. Keep the chocks in. Have a GPU plugged in. And I will take it from here. Fair computer. Alright, oxygen in. Supply control packs auto. Batteries on. Gen's on. And bus tie auto. And seatbelt signs on. Hydraulic pumps auto. ADS AOA auto. ELT is armed. And we'll turn the heats on for the windows. Ignition mode auto, and we're going to go ahead and do bleed both. Mode auto for pressurization. And for our discovery flight, in one sense, we're probably going to cruise around 25,000 feet. 25, I'd say. Although if I'm going to be doing any kind of flying to Miami, I could probably easily pull off 41,000 feet if I took my time. But then again, how far is it from Key West to Miami? It can't be that far. If I did Key West to Orlando, that might justify going to 41,000 feet, but that's going to be a longer flight. So let's just see how we do, and let's see what happens when we get up there. So, for the sake of planning, let's get ourselves set. All right. So I think I can start typing right now. Kilo, Echo, Yankee, Whiskey. And since I'm not flying online, I don't have to worry about what runway I'm going to take. I'll just take runway 9er. And then we will go to the question of the evening. Do I want to fly to Miami or do I want to fly to Orlando? Let's fly to Miami if we can. Kilo Mike India Alpha. And assuming winds from the east, I'm going to take 8 left. 8 left because I think general aviation parking is on the north side.
Yourself.
Hey, Nathan's plane's coming through with a raid, my friend. Welcome aboard. I saw you on earlier. I was saying hi to some folks online, and I appreciate you stopping in and saying hello. We did a little bit of scenery development earlier at Lafayette Regional, and I'm going to try out the Cockspur Dev Team's Phenom 100, and we're going to do a very, very quick flight. Sunny D, welcome aboard, friend. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. So let me pick 8 left at Miami, and then we're going to pick our procedures. I don't think there's going to be a departure out of Key West. I don't think. So there we go. No departures. And the arrival. Actually, I don't care about arrival. I'm not worried about that too much. We are going to pick, I think, can I do a localizer approach? Localizer 8 left. And we will take PA Boy as the approach. Minimums, we're going to do radio altimeter, and we're going to go with 200 feet. If it lets me. There we go. Okay, is it that choose it? Thank you, my friend. I appreciate the compliment. I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Just putting another work week in the books. Thankful to Yahweh Elohim for that. And I am prepping a really quick flight, hopefully a quick flight, from Key West to Miami. So, for the sake of just testing the Phenom, I'm probably going to follow the Key West Islands back up to Florida before I decide to get lined up with 8 left to land at Miami. And this is, of course, assuming it doesn't take that long to fly from Key West to Miami and I feel like landing. If it doesn't work out, I can always quit kick up Euro Truck Sim or American Truck Sim, do a little bit of trucking as well. So I'm not worried about it. Hopefully the weather holds up and we'll have a nice time. So we got the flight plan in more or less. I'm also going to be taking off and probably keeping a heading of maybe 060 once we climb out. So I'll set that here. And what did we say the heading is? Where does it show it? It doesn't really show it unless I'm looking for it. But I think 060 is now marked. Turn the flight directors on, as well as the yaw damper, and we have our cruising altitude set for 41,000 feet. We'll see how well that pans out. And I'll hit the B button because lazy pilot. And it looks like we have 299.2 as our actual altimeter with live weather. It's not real time, but it is live weather. So what do we have? Nav lights on. Panel lighting all the way up. And that should do it. Let's see if we can get this bird flying. See if I remember all my prep work here. We've got the ignitions set to auto. And we should be okay. Where's our testers? Do we not have them? Here we go. Annunciator light.
Fire. Fire.
Good test. And
Stall. Stall.
there we go. Those tests sound nice. And I think we're going to be heading out of here very shortly. Good evening to everybody tuning in, by the way. Hopefully you're having a great night tonight. I appreciate you guys stopping by. And again, Nathan's Plains, thank you so much for the raid. I am just resting a little bit tonight after the work week.
Brace yourself.
And again, another raid, this time from my friend Pixeled Penguin. Hello, my friend. Happy to have you aboard. Pixeled was also streaming today, doing some bus streaming. And I remember quite the time that you had with your passengers at the airport terminal. Monster SD coming through as well. Welcome aboard. Folks, up on offer we have the Cockspur Phenom 100. I haven't flown this plane in a while, but I'm looking forward to doing so today. We're flying out of Key West, and this is kind of just a quick mess around flight to see if we actually get to Miami. If we don't, I'll probably do a little bit more, maybe a truck stream tonight too. We'll see. It is getting late though, so I'm going to have to kick this thing off really fast. So let's kick off the GPU, and the battery starts being consumed pretty quickly. GPU is out, chocks are out, and now I can go ahead and activate this plane. So no one's around, right? Absolutely no one's around. Clear engines. The nacelles aren't covered. We should be able to get out of here. The bee's knees, absolutely. So, with us ready to go here, we'll go ahead and turn on engine number 2. Turn it to the start position. Parking brake is on. And just like that, we have engine number 2 running, which probably means the battery voltage should be coming back on. And we'll give you guys some more engine sounds. Just a bit more. And let's do engine number 1. We have 1,377 pounds of fuel, which should be enough to get us to Miami. But let's go ahead and chug some more. Alright, so 2,000 gallons, I'm sorry, 2,000 pounds should be enough right there. Okay, and just like that, the battery voltage is back up to climbing again, And the parking brake is currently set. We can also set our taxi lights to on. And we'll set the strobe lights once we're going. We already have the...
Final approach checklist complete.
Hey, Pixel Penguin, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate you, friend. Thank you. Welcome back to the Digi crew. Enjoy those emotes. So, the controls are great. Like me, that ram's horn yoke that you have are in front of you. And we have full range of motion. Let's get the flaps set to position 1. We should be fine. But then again, this is a kind of short runway, so position 2 should probably work. You know what? That almost does seem like overkill. Let's keep it at 1. So, again, we are facing west. Let's go ahead and take off from the east. And parking brake is now... Actually, before I take the parking brake off, let's go ahead and set a transponder code, shall we? 2257. And we'll do altitude reporting. And timer. I'm going to say, scroll down to minimums, radio altimeter. We're going to take 200 feet, and that should do it. Okay, so timer's ready to go. Let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, so take the parking brake off and start feeding it some throttle. Right, it might get loud. I'm going to go ahead and share some outside sounds right now. Watch your headphones, please. Here we go. Wow, that engine sounds amazing. So the panel makes me squint just a teensy bit because I have the DLSS mode running on my NVIDIA at 1080p. I could do TAA and drop just a few frames. It probably wouldn't hurt for this stream, and things would be a teensy bit sharper, but usually not by much. Not by that much. Don't see any traffic coming in. We will go ahead and stop short of the hold short line, arm the parking brake or set it, and we will check real fast just in case there's any traffic coming in, which it doesn't appear to be. I think we're okay. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to activate the timer, and then we're going to go ahead and take off, climb, and probably at some point activate the autopilot. Not the autopilot per se, but what am I trying to say? I guess we will fly by hand for a teensy bit. And flaps are set to 1. So, we will start the timer. And it's time to get out of here. Parking brake is off. Let's go. Okay, I haven't set the nav for the localizer approach. Hopefully I won't have to use it. Let's head on up to those blue skies, shall we? Any lights on? Strobe lights on. And... Oop. This plane does not like the turn. I don't know why. Oh, that's why, because the rudder was stuck the one way. Funny. Here we go. Work with me, plane, come on. The rudder. There we go. Easy, easy. Not bad. Take some of the edge off that engine sound. And I'll take some of the edge off my headphones. And now we are climbing into and above the clouds as we shoot for 41,000 feet. So, here's what I'm going to do. Pitching for, I think, either 170 or 190 knots gets you up to flight level 410 pretty quickly. So, if you take a look at the main panel, we're heading in the direction of the islands, so I can probably keep going that way. And I can fly by hand for now, which is exactly what I'm doing. And then we just kind of keep our eyes apprised of the situation. I'm using the trim to try to shoot for 170 knot climb, which is about 3,000 feet per minute right now. And then once we probably cross 10,000 feet, I'll be forced to reduce that climb pattern, that climb rate. And we'll see how it works out. Ooh, well, that's not, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me, sir, what is this? Interesting. Looks like a blimp or a big fish that's out there. That's neat, I think. All right. I mean, somebody probably created a blimp by now for, MSFS and whatnot. like one, or at least it didn't look like one at first. It is a blimp. I think so, anyway. Of all the things I'd expect to see in the sky, a blimp was not one of them. That is what you call a very interesting occurrence. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna pop out. You're probably gonna hear a lot of wind and engine noise. Yeah, for sure. I was not expecting that. For sure. So weird. Okay, we're way above 10,000 feet, so we can turn those standing lights off. We're still just below 170 knots in terms of sustained speed. So if I pitch forward a bit more, we will regain some speed. We probably won't hit 41,000 feet for the SOP, but if we get to even 30,000 feet, I'll be happy. Gotta say, so far, very pleasantly surprised and pleased with the 1.0.5 update. And I'm still hand flying. I'm not sure if the thrust was asymmetrical at all, because I had a hard time keeping it straight down the runway as it took off, but it sounds wonderful, and it's very potent. I'm like around 165 knots, and we're continuing to climb to 41,000 feet. Flying for a little bit more than 9 minutes at this point. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not a bad cabin either. Good stuff. Digi, party of one. Digi, party of one. Let's see if I can get the PFD open. Where would I? So I'm clicking on the screen, but it's not doing anything. How would I get the PFD to appear? Right alt click. Well, that's interesting. Wow, this is so crisp. That's amazing. That's incredible. Not too bad. Can I see. Oh, this won't let me interact with it. That's the only thing that sucks. That's okay. I should be seeing traffic. Mine is probably going to screen and bump. Let's see. Let me click on this again. Okay, so we do have a little bit of sim traffic or multiplayer traffic, but nothing crazy. I am very pleasantly surprised. I'm really enjoying the experience now. The only ticket for me before was either FSX or P3D, and I'm very happy that I don't have to go back to P3D to enjoy this now. I can enjoy this in MSFS. Not that I'll stop flying it in P3D. I probably still will. It's just that this is certainly a more graphically rich experience. What will probably happen is that I will wind up around 30 something thousand feet by the time I get to planning my descent. Also, I did download the latest update for the plane, so I believe it's 1.0.5, maybe later at this point, but I haven't checked for new updates since I downloaded this. It took me a while to. I had to actually use torrent downloader to see if I could just like get better bandwidth or something like that. But yeah, I did pay for the plane, obviously. I just used the I think the downloader actually let me I guess get better bandwidth for it. I don't know how that works, but let's see, 1,600 feet per minute. We're still climbing at about 163, 164 knots, and we are on our way to a hopeful final cruise of 41,000 feet, but I would probably say if I hit 30 or 35,000, if I hit 31 or 35,000, that'd be good too. And if I do heading hold, then what I can do is probably choose my present heading, activate the autopilot, and do flight level change. And that should take me the rest of the way to 41,000 feet, and that will do. Last time I checked, it was 1.0.5, some number similar to that. In fact, I should probably be able to check my folder right now. Yeah, 1.0.5. It's a 3 gigabyte download, so it's not going to be a zippy one. And now I am on autopilot. So if I take a look at the map, we still got a ways to go. But we left Key West a while ago, like 15 minutes ago. And we're covering a lot of ground. Again, sincerely pleased with how nicely put together this plane feels now. Yeah. I think the sticker price on this plane is like about maybe 5 something million for the latest doodads, bells and whistles. It's a nice plane to fly. So, I mean, obviously most of us already know the cat's out of the bag. Club class, good to see you, my friend. Welcome. Or in your case, pretty sure it's good morning. It's like 6, just like a few minutes past 6:15-ish in the morning over there, depending on where you are. But oh, okay. So on sale, 2.43 million to 2.97 million, and that's considering the fact that you're getting a twin-engine business jet for that price. You're getting a business jet for literally a fraction of what you'd pay for a typical, Learjet or Gulfstream. Went to bed around 6 p.m. 6 p.m. or a.m.? Okay. Oh, no, 6 p.m. Okay. Annual cost 734 to 897,000. Okay. So all of a sudden maintaining my my car seems way less expensive. For real. But that's not bad. Maintaining my car, I mean. Not the plane. This is why people probably either use chartered services or fractional ownership, because it gets expensive fast. So my plan is fairly simple. Let me give this the rest of the juice. Alright, I'm basically maxed out on thrust. I am intending on buying FS 2024. Hopefully making it a day one purchase. Jet fuel is free in Flight Sim. You better believe it. So, while most everyone is going to be flying in the sim, I am probably going to be spending time learning the software development kit, specifically scenery development, for the simple reason that I want to figure out how to release scenery, because it's going to create an opportunity for people like myself to break into the market, specifically because of one reason. The SDK has not been released publicly, or at least it hasn't been released as part of anything ahead of release of the sim. I mean, people have installed it, but I don't know if they got the SDK with the installer. That would be, if you had to pay for fuel, that would be interesting. It really would bring new life to the phrase, cost per mile. So that's an interesting point, actually. Good point. I want to do scenery dev in 24. I'm going to be very interested to see how the scenery engine works. I want to see whether or not it's going to be possible to. So we'll see what happens. Now, cuckoo bananas, for sure. Let me take a look at the approach. I'll grab some charts real fast. ILS 8 left. ILS 8 left is, I think, what is it, 113.9er? 14.9er, course heading 092. So let's get that set. Right, and course heading 092. Uh, well, that would be one concern, but appreciate you saying that. Too late, probably? Nah, it's okay. It's okay. They they know what they're doing. With the release of the updated Premium Deluxe and Aviator model, they're going to be making money off of folks that want to buy the physical, collector's edition stuff. So I'm not worried about them going, "Oh, that's another way to make money. Write that down." No, no. They're I think at this point they're going to stick with what they know. So we should be okay. And speaking of being okay, I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and switch over to nav because we have what am I trying to say? We have the approach in sight. So let's go ahead to procedure, go to approach. Oh, excuse me, activate approach. And now we're turning. Okay, I'm happy I loaded in my ILS because it looks like we're gonna need it. Let's start descending, and I think PA Boy is going to be 3,000 feet. So let's start descending. And we'll do manual descent. We'll do like 2,600 feet per minute, make it nice and sporty. We're probably going to overfly it, so I'd better prepare to massively extend my downwind or my turn to final. But 2,600 feet, how far away is this? Let's see. That is... What's my range? What's my range? I wish I knew what my range was. Doesn't show. That's okay. We're dropping out of the sky at about 2,600 feet per minute, so we should be okay. The Unreal Game Engine. Ooh, very nice, friend. I was messing around with Unity back during like the pandemic days, but I think like my job crowded out my free time. So I might look into that again in the not too distant future to be able to do some side giggy type programming. Save your work. Did I even have anything else open? We did save the work, but I'm going to take that save your work as a make sure you back up your files tonight, Digi, which, God willing, I intend to. So ground speed right now is, where do I see that? 353 knots. So 2,600 feet per minute is a bit of overkill in terms of descent rate, but that's okay. I'd rather be at 3,000 feet, cruising above the swamp, lining up to final way ahead of time, than be like 10,000 feet over the airport. Not a bad idea to be prepared early. My cat is watching Mrs. Digi. They're like, hey, that's noise. She's gonna eat people food. But yeah, this was a much, much faster flight than I anticipated. And cool. Oh, so I have to click on that. I see. I see. Now, if I look at this, this is distance. Okay, so my guess is, with that being the airport, we're probably going to have to do a good chunk of maneuvering. Wait a minute, let me see something. Ah, that's interesting. I think the aircraft accounted for my altitude in preparing the approach, because I don't see the airport anywhere. No, that's the whole point. Is it though? I don't see the airport. Why am I confused? Hold on, hold on. People food is nice. People food is very nice. Okay, so this would be the airport, but we're obviously going to be way above glide slope for sure. Okay, so I'm guessing that is Miami. Okay. All right, we're going to take over the airplane, and we are going to continue our descent. First thing we're going to do is we're going to continue going basically straight ahead. 010. And we'll probably keep descending for another like maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Or at least 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes west, 2 minutes south, and 2 minutes east. By that point, we should probably be in good enough shape to line up with 08 left. Should. I say should. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Alright, I think this is it. I think. No, that's probably Boca Raton. No, that's Miami, right there. That must have been air traffic. So, that would mean that I'm going to line myself up with the, I guess, runway. But not at 24,000 feet, I'm not. So I think once I get to Piana, I'm going to turn left to 270 for a little bit. $2,600 feet per minute. It's sporty, but it's not terminal. Like, it's not a 4,000 foot per minute descent. We're okay. even at this altitude, we're still pressurized to about 5,000, almost 6,000 feet. So we should be okay. And just so I don't forget, I'll put on my landing lights, because I tend to forget. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, talking about scenery development and FS 2024. I'm looking forward to seeing what options and opportunities are out there. I am most likely going to be involved with the process of building airport scenery for FS 2024. Will I keep FS 2020 installed, at least for the first few months, at least? If it becomes apparent that pretty much everybody has jumped ship and no one is going to be involved in the process of, say, doing anything with FS 2020, then certainly I can keep FS 2020 installed as long as I want to as my computer. But at the same time, if I'm looking to produce content for people that are actually going to be involved with it or be involved in it, I would say jumping into FS 2024 will probably be precluded by me potentially uninstalling FS 2020. I'm not going to uninstall it when I install FS 2024, especially if the hard disk space requirements are as low as I understand they are. Because apparently you're only going to need somewhere between 30 to 50 gigs of space to keep it installed on your computer, and I think most everything else is going to be, I guess, loaded in to the cloud. So I'm not too trippy or tripped up by everything coming in. I want to take it in measured steps. I think I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what they have in store for us in terms of ground detail, flora, fauna, like actual wildlife, interactivity with the sim. It would be great if you had a career mode where you actually did more outside the plane. It will be on Steam. It will be on Steam as far as I know. It might take a little while to get to Steam, but it will eventually release there. And if everybody goes to FS 2024 and leaves FS 2020 in the dust, then that will probably be very apparent very quickly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure. Okay. Give me another 2 minutes and we should probably be around 11,000 feet. If I get to around 13,000 feet, I'll start my light steer. That's a good point. That's a good point. Where's that? Nice. Mrs. Digi is looking at a live cam. Somebody live streaming landings at San Diego Airport. That's pretty cool. So, South 182. And that's a lot of cloud. 35 minutes in flight time. What is the outside temperature? Can I see it anywhere? Afterwards. Okay, outside temperature is 10 degrees. Don't see any visible moisture, so I think we're okay. And we're coming up on 10,000 feet. Lights are on, and we are below 250 knots, so we can continue. And 9,000 feet. Let's go ahead and go to the procedure page, and we're going to activate vectors to final. Okay, so now vectors to final are activated, and I'm going to hit the nav button and see what happens. Okay, nothing at the moment. I see. I was looking in the wrong spot for the scale. It's right here. Okay. Not too shabby. We're coming in really fast. Really fast, but it's okay. Alright, let's do a left turn to 130. Intercept the localizer. As we continue our descent to 3,000 feet. Cloud-based gaming, like you said, is very good if it's possible to normalize bandwidth and connectivity concerns. I'm old-fashioned. I mean, I like having a hard drive with, you know, installed like actual physical installed stuff. But I mean, I guess I'm an edge case. Not too shabby. We're coming up at 3,000 feet. We'll be leveling off shortly. And all things considered, considering how, you know, wacky and all over the place this approach was, this is not that bad. Alright, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and line up with this approach. And then we will see if we actually get to the spot where the localizer actually kicks in. And it looks like it just did. So let's do localizer mode and see if it actually tracks it. I believe, Club Class, that is for people that buy the Aviator edition. The Aviator edition is basically 2FS 2024, what the Premium Deluxe version was 2FS 2020. So with the Aviator version, you get every plane released for the new sim, every scenery that's been updated for the new sim, every single legacy or whatever you want to call it, like they had a name for it. Every single legacy plane that was payware released in the FS 2020 marketplace, and you also get a few physical items in terms of you know, collectibles. I think you get this commemorative tin to store your media in, and you get a bag. There's a few other things you get. I think you get some kind of paper or some kind of book. I forget. So definitely definitely tempting in one sense. The premium deluxe version that I bought for FS 2020 back in August of 2020 was about 120 some odd dollars. I forget how much the premium deluxe version costs these days. The aviator version costs somewhere between $200 to $220 US. So that's going to be the most expensive option you're going to have. But like I said, it's going to include every aircraft, every scenery update in terms of like the handmade sceneries that they offer, and also all of the legacy or marketplace Microsoft aircraft that they made that they released. And what else? I forget what the exact name was for those aircraft, but they're going to give every one of them to you. I have a feeling we'll be landing in traffic. That's okay. But I'm also glad I armed the ILS because it looks like we're going to have an issue with low hanging clouds. We have the localizer armed, but we do not have the ILS. I wonder why. I'm sorry, we have the localizer, but we don't have the glide slope. Okay, so there is the runway. We have the airport, but we don't have the approach mode armed. Well, tell you what. I'm taking it in myself. Alright, I see a runway. I'm way too high, but let's have some fun. So, can I put in rudder and basically forward slip this aircraft down? We can sure try. There we go. So, that was a crazy descent. And we're still really high. But now I'm at a point where I can start putting flaps down. Interestingly enough, the localizer never armed. Even though we had localizer on. Oh, you know why? Because it chose localizer approach. It wasn't an ILS. Alright. Still coming in pretty fast for a light plane, but still, we're not doing too bad. And decrab. Whoa! And floating, floating. Gentle, gentle. Let the energy dissipate. You're flying a light plane. You're flying a light plane. There we go. Oh, ever so gingerly. And drift. There we go. When I decrabbed, I just like swung way over to the right. That was crazy. Okay, lesson learned. Be very careful when choosing a localizer approach. Simple as that. Thank you. And I appreciate your perspective, Club Class. I mean, hey, I'm not going to disagree. If it's easier to maintain online media, or if it's easier for you to maintain digital media, then more power to you. I mean, some folks like having physical media because they either have enough of it, or they are able to, what am I trying to say? Their particular approach to their media is different. And that's okay. That's all right. Hey. Yeah, I would say overall, um, pilot error taken into account, this plane feels so nice to fly around it. Definitely. I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan, and I appreciate being able to fly this plane again. Considering I took off Atlanta with the gamepad, I'm happy. I just have to feel my way around the sensitivity of the aircraft, especially when I'm dealing with the slightly unconventional mechanics for, rudder and throttle action. But the old Thrustmaster G16000 joystick, specifically the throttle quadrant, is really sticky in terms of applying thrust. The rudder action works okay, but it seems like it's much better even with my gamepad right now. So let's shut her down. Taxi lights off, and let's go ahead and cut the engines. Parking brake is on, and let's get the GPU fired up. Chocks, control lock, and we'll get the hydraulic pump off, AOA now off, pack signs off, ELT disarmed, window heats off, ignition switches to the off position, and bleed is open. Supply controls and bus ties are done. Gens can come off, and one battery, and I think that's it. There we go. I think at this point we can check out the GPU and we're going to call it. So, GPU is done. Covers for everything. And there we go. Since it was just me flying, that's it. The engine nacelle covers are on. What's going to be interesting about 24 for me is that it's going to encourage extensively more interaction with, I guess, the aircraft in terms of walkarounds and prep and whatnot. I'm very curious to see how it turns out, but also I'm very happy with how far we've come with the sim as is. I don't have any space for a fifth bookcase. That's neat, but it is truth. So, welcome down to Miami after about 40 hours total flight, 40 minutes total flight time. Way faster than I thought. So, that's good. We are down and secured. The aircraft is turned off. I left the nav lights on, but that's okay. Let's just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And let's see, flaps are up, throttle is idle, and parking brake is set. Probably don't need the parking brake with the fact that we have chocks on. And it's not going anywhere, so that's good. Yeah, all in all, I'm very happy with this aircraft. Um, plenty of views. So if you get a chance to fly it, personally, as far as I'm concerned, it's great experience. I picked it up. I think I bought like I think I paid like 27, 28 bucks for it online. Really, really good price. Enjoy your weekend club class. Much love to you and your family. God bless you. Take care. Folks, we're parked. We're down. We're done. We did scenery dev, kind of retrospective, um, at Lafayette Regional in Louisiana. We just flew into Miami, albeit unconventional because I can't tell the difference between a localizer approach and an ILS approach, but we did get it down, and we got some traffic. Let's go ahead and see what's currently at MIA before we go ahead and call it a night tonight. It looks like we've got a plane coming in. And is anybody else coming in or going out? Probably nobody else. This is real time, I think. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think so. I'm good. I'm definitely good. Let's reset this camera. And that'll do it. So, the plan for the rest of this week, and probably nothing tomorrow, maybe nothing on Sunday, it depends. And then probably back to quiet or quiet-ish dev streams this week as I try to step up more work at Lafayette. I guess it depends on what's going to happen with work and responsibilities and stuff like that, but I'm hoping that it will be relatively easy to deal with. I think that's it. Until next time, my friends, I think I'm going to get going. It's about 1:47 a.m. this side of the big body of water they call the Atlantic Ocean. So I don't think very many of my friends are on, with one exception. With just one exception. We're going to say hi to somebody that's been a bit of an inspiration to me and a big, 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 big friend of the channel. Assuming they are still streaming, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys on over to Studio Canuck. So let's go ahead and raid Studio Canuck. Stick around for the raid. And like I always like to say at the end of every stream, if you want true peace, you want the Prince of Peace, and that is Jesus Christ. Take care, friends. Have a great night. Much love to you all, and we'll see ya.